Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Podcast powered by First National. I am Adam, sitting here with Aaron at day 2 of the Toronto Real Estate Forum. This is, of course, the main event of the year for us, and we love spending time here. This is part of our speaker video series, sponsored by Glass Lake Funding, and we thank them for that. We're kicking off the day with an interview with Mike Maxfield from Brookfield, Senior Vice President, Business Technologies. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So I think today the conversation is going to sit at the intersection of real estate and tech and operations. Is that a fair assessment of kind of your purview at Brookfield?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So this is actually
we're gonna geek out on real estate data right now.
Yeah, Aaron in particular is gonna have stars in his eyes.
Yeah. I got a man crush already on Mike. This is gonna be fun. Yeah. Before we do that, let's just talk about your history. Born in Sarnia, I've learned. Yep. Moved to Toronto, and then what?
I moved in Toronto. So I've lived in Toronto for many years now. Joined Brookfield in 2012. So I've been with Brookfield for about 13 years now, 13 and a half years. I started at a shared service part of Brookfield. We did shared services for technology and financial services for both BAM and Brookfield Properties. And this is going back 13 years, right? And so over the years, I've done a number of different roles. The most interesting thing for working at Brookfield for me has been I have worked across so many different groups and seen so many different platforms. The growth of the company over the past 13 plus years has just been astounding. I joined Brookfield Properties office team 7 years ago or something. I don't know the exact time at this point. We did a big digital transformation. So it was really formed an IT team specific to the real estate business or the office real estate business. And we did a digital transformation, brought in, modernized all our systems. From that, needed a period of stabilization because we just did an enormous amount of change. From there, launched into a data strategy initiative where we have implemented a number of systems, but they were fairly siloed. So whenever you needed reporting, it was like point system after point system after point system. So after the digital transformation, it was into a data strategy where we combined it all into a data warehouse where we can now make foundational data layers and get all our reporting out in a cohesive manner. From there, I just joined a new part of Brookfield, or a new company or organization that was formed, Brookfield Properties Corporate. And our mission is to drive standardization and simplification across all our different sectors. And we're focused in North America. So I came out of the office business, and now I get to work across office, retail, logistics, multifamily, hospitality, et cetera. So it's really, really exciting to be at the spot I'm at now and be able to see all the different elements of properties coming together. And again, that growth Brookfield's had in when I started, it was largely focused on office, then you add in retail, and then you fast forward today and it's just holdings in every possible sector. Very exciting time.
Including debt, given that, of course, Brookfield's now a very large owner of First National. Yeah.
Stay out of my data, okay?
Yeah. Well, this should be great, though, Aaron, for you. I mean, it's...
yeah. We'll talk after.
Yeah, living in data silos is no way to live, right?
Why is data important?
Why is data important?
Like, let's just start at the very basics and build on top of this. Just for, there's a lot of everyone in there, I'm assuming everyone listening are real estate people, right? And so data and real estate isn't perfect, right? Like there's not a lot of numbers that come out of real estate, really, right? Like it's underwriting, I guess, but what else?
So data is obviously important. So there are a couple things, right? Like with good data, you can start getting into your predictive analytics and better forecasting of your data. If your data's crap, you're going to have problems. Just doing your reporting is going to be a challenge, right? Like you have basics that you're trying to do, and you know, like your monthly closes, your quarter closes, you're going to have challenges there. You have good data, it's all going to flow much more smoothly. When you have really quality data, you can now be confident that when you're starting to do your next level initiatives, your predictive analytics, your data science work, all that, you have a good foundational base. And so when you're trying to forecast going years into the future on what's going to happen to your holdings or potential investments or potential markets, you can be much more confident in what your predictions are going to be.
Okay, so when you are now sort of, I mean, I'm not maybe in charge of it, but taking this surveillance of sort of the world inside Brookfield Properties, and you've got to do this business of building sort of a data lake. Like I think everyone naturally, all the underwriting, the cash flow data, like the dollars and cents of it, that's easy, right? Like that's accounting, right? That's really that's I think for the most part, people can wrap their heads around it, but it's much larger than that, I'm guessing, than just the accounting numbers, right? So maybe just describe the girth of that sort of data lake that you're trying to acquire.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for one, I wouldn't exactly say it's easy, right? Because like a rent roll is a rent roll, right? Except it's not, because everybody's got slightly different formats and nuances to it. So it's not quite as easy as just give me the rent roll and we put it in the data lake, because I got to format and normalize all the data and to get it to like a standard state to then do more reporting on. So even that's a challenge just in itself right there. But then the whole act of bringing all the data together, right? So we approach it in a couple of ways. We have third-party data providers, right? So we have partners that we work with. We do some of this at scale where we're purchasing actually large data sets and bringing that in and going to take that in. We put that in the data warehouse, and as part of like foundational data sets we can do further work with. We have third-party data that is more, I just call it like console access. Like you sign a subscription or you have some sort of agreement. We buy 10 seats and 10 investment associates can go log in and do their research that way. So that's kind of one set of data about market data that you buy and bring in. And then really the exciting thing for Brookfield is that supplements all this internal data that we then get access to. And because we have exposure across all these sectors, we can draw these pictures of all markets across North America and even the globe, really, of how commercial office is performing, how that impacts logistics business, how that ties into multifamily and single family rental, et cetera. So when you start combining all this information into a single place, we get to have some really powerful pictures. We can start drawing about like, what markets do we think are hot? What markets do you think we might want to exit? There's a lot you can do once you start tying all this together.
Comparing your internal data to market data, exactly. And seeing where you've got advantages and disadvantages.
Well, yeah, you can find opportunities where market sentiment might be wrong, right? The data doesn't support it, so you're going to see something the market doesn't see. Is what you have now, the system you have in place, in terms of usability and decision making, is it where you want it to be, or is there still iterative changes significant iterative changes that you'd want to do?
Look, there's significant changes that need to happen, right? And I'm going to guess you guys have had AI come up in previous conversations, right? And it's the hot topic. AI evolves so quickly, right? Like, so we have AI programs we are building, we are developing, we are partnering, but it moves so quickly, right? So we continually have to keep growing and evolving our strategy and figuring out like, where are we at today? Where do we think this is all going tomorrow, and keep heading towards where it's going. It moves so quickly. By the time we've done some proof of concepts, right, we've already moved past it. Like you have to move very, very quickly, and it's been a challenge at times. When you work with big organizations, things can bogged down into governance and bureaucracy, and we try to avoid that at all costs, right? We try to move quickly, move fast. It's okay to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and go forward with what you've built. So we're trying to adapt and evolve.
We've had we're in the middle of assessing sort of the best way to utilize sort of AI agents or the technology for our own systems, and I've been going to a lot of different sort of pitches from AI providers or distributors, and the new thing is that you need AI of AI. You need AI agents that train AI agents, and it's layering of AI. That's how it's like AI times AI, right? It's like it's just nuts, right?
You're gonna have a bloated AI workforce soon.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
We're in that same boat, right? Like, so we're building out a team that's going to be in charge of governing essentially that, right? But like that is questions that we have, and like we're building out hiring on the people. It's interesting, right? We're a real estate company. We are building out AI capabilities, right? Which means bringing on people like data engineers and system engineers and AI architects and all that kind of stuff to get that to a place
that you know how to use it, because you can go in the wrong direction, right? Like that's the reality.
Exactly.
Okay, so back to data. So I mean, a lot of your information obviously is building specific, and so you've got to have systems in place to acquire the data. And I know I said the financial information is easy. Maybe it's the sense that you have tenants that come and go and they're making payments and the dollars are moving, so you can kind of wrap your head around it. But there's a lot more to just building use that you want to learn from, that isn't just the money payments going from one account to another.
100%. So we have a big initiative right now around tenant relationship management, right? So this is the idea that you want to understand your customer very well. You want to understand your exposures. So we have initiatives underway where we're trying to gather up data from a ton of different sources and understand our relationship with tenants, both from like a tenant sentiment to who's our contacts, who do we talk to, who do we know at that tenant. Maybe if we know someone in Toronto, that can help do a deal in New York, that can help do a deal in London, that kind of thing. So we're working on being able to combine just our contact management, our relationship management, so how people are interacting and updating from that sense. But then going even deeper of that and looking at some of the like building utilization, right? Like, so what tenants are having badge swipes, who's engaging with our tenant engagement programs, who's using our tenant engagement app, who's using the parking facilities. Like, you can go on and start listing system after system after system where you want to scrape the data out, because it helps build that picture of the overall tenant relationship and how they're doing and what they're doing.
Anything catch you by surprise when you started looking into the data? Anything that your gut would have told you had been different, and then you see the evidence?
I don't know if anything has caught me by surprise, but so in full transparency, like, this is at the beginning stages of this work. I think if anything caught me by surprise, it's like the challenge of how to make all the connections, right? Because there's so many different systems and so many different people you have to talk to, and then you start layering on partners that you need to talk to as well to do it. And so just the length of time that it takes to do it is the challenge or the surprise.
By the time you figure it out, there'll be an AI agent that could have just done it in a couple of hours, right? Like, this is the problem.
Hey, that's not beyond possibility at all, right? To have AI agents say, I want to connect this system to that system, like have your agent talk to my agent, and then they make that mapping happen, right? Like that's not beyond possibility. That's, coming down the road.
Yeah. I mean, even from a simplistic thing, I've always thought it's kind of crazy, that, a building's going to market for financing, and then you now have 10 separate analysts and 10 different lending shops all manually inputting rent rolls and things like that. It just seems so archaic, and that is changing, but not that long ago. That must be the nightmares that keep you awake at night, just thinking about those kinds of inefficiencies.
Oh yeah, lending is not there at all. We all like I like my spreadsheet. Adam has his spreadsheet. Like, inside First National, we've got 10 different spreadsheets, and no one wants to change, and mine's better than yours. Where does climate impact, climate resiliency kind of fold into this? Because we've been tasked, we are part of different groups that are trying to figure out how to, as a lender, obtain this data about sort of building efficiencies and building usage from our clients. And often our clients kind of look at us glassy-eyed going, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's obviously very important to Brookfield. We have all sorts of climate commitments and commitment to renewable energy. Utility data, it's a data challenge, right? Because we have so many different buildings and so many different systems and so many different ways of getting power to those buildings. But we have different services that we engage with, and we have full teams of people that their job is to go out and make sure we have the right information coming into our platforms. And we have built advanced reporting that can then take a look at our utility utilization, our carbon imprint, or our carbon footprint, and be able to do the reporting we need to do.
What's the hardest part of that role of what you're doing right now? Like, where's the biggest obstacle?
Yeah, the hardest part of the role, it's herding cats at times, right? So I'll put it this way, right? So I talked about our group, Brookfield Properties Corporate, and we work across all these different sectors. The sectors still have their team, and the sector's job is to focus on their sector specifically, right? If you think of corporate delivering services as commodity, right? Stuff that's common across all the businesses, stuff that we can do more efficiently as a group, that's where that focus is. Those sectors' job is then to focus on, like, what makes their sector unique or special? What do they have to do to execute on their own business plans? So my challenge is that you need to get the attention of these people who are ultra focused on what their sector needs to do to be successful, and you're trying to pull them in and say, oh, no, we need to focus on this, we have some standardization and things we want to do. And honestly, sometimes that becomes just noise to them, right? Because they want to focus on the execution of their business plans, not necessarily on, like, how we can do vendor management more effectively as a team. So that's the big challenge, to get everyone kind of buying into the collective vision. That being said, there is buy-in. We have buy-in from the executive levels and senior leadership and to drive this forward. So I'm not saying that there's not buy-in.
And there's obviously NOI enhancement here, right? Like, you're at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. It's just sometimes that you can have the executive buy-in and the sponsorship. You still have to convince the people that are hands-on keys and that you need to participate in the work to be like, oh, make the time for me.
There's still the human element involved that sets the pace. That's
Yeah.
Well, he's coming in saying you can't use your spreadsheet anymore, right? Like basically.
Yeah, no, you use my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, Aaron and I, been talking about prop tech since we started this podcast in 2016 and the ways that technology can enhance it. And we were talking about blockchain in 2017 and it felt like it was around the corner and it doesn't arrive. And so, of course, I want to ask you, but what do you see 5 years from now tech-wise? But it feels like right now with the way AI is just taking over everything that we are living in the future. It's hard not to think that this is, this is now finally arrived. But is there any vision for 2, 3, 4 years out where you think the next level is, where we could get to beyond this already amazingly enhanced system?
Yeah, I see a couple things coming from the AI perspective, right? So for one, as just like a base level productivity, everyone's got what I call the analyst in the pocket, right? And right now, AI, everyone knows, like, you ask AI and it's like, you're going to get a good answer back. You can still, if you're an expert in the field, it's helpful to be that expert because you're going to get like a intern level or graduate student level kind of response back. I look forward 2-4 years down the road, and I think that the answers are going to be much more precise and much more like specific to what you're asking, and you can have a lot more trust and reliability because everyone will be a lot better on your prompting as well about how you ask the questions and what kind of information you get back. So my first thing is just at a base level, productivity across everybody increases because now everybody has access to an expert at all times. Like whatever you need to do, you can ask the question and you will get good quality responses back. That's kind of AI for the masses and how it's going to raise the floor of productivity. And then you have AI, call it like the big picture AI. And now this is getting into like predictive analytics and some advanced tool sets for investment professionals. This might only be tool sets that only a couple people in the company are going to end up using, but it's going to be the things that have the enormous impact on ROI. Like this is the kind of tooling that lets you predict, well, what market's going to be hot. And that's where I think we need to put our investments into, or I think this market's cooling. Let's kind of like exit out of that market. I think in 2 to 4 to 5 years time, like these data sets, the predictive analytics, like the forecast is going to be much more entrenched. And again, just kind of a new weapon in the arsenal for investment professionals to start using.
It's interesting. So this is getting really kind of theoretical, but hold on to the rope here. I'm trying to buy a car right now. I'm in the market.
2 of them actually.
Yeah. Don't do this. But what I'm finding with that process is it's a nightmare because I don't have access to any of the real information. So you go and sit across from a salesperson and they hold all the cards, right? They know how everything works behind the scenes. They know all the mechanisms, and I'm trying to figure it out, but it's really, and then I got to go talk to another dealer and it's totally separate. And so there's this disinformation or just this breakdown of info, which allows me, which makes it very challenging. Somebody that had access to the information or had the insight or the knowledge behind the scenes could obviously make a much better decision because they could see it and they knew it. And so there's a disconnect between the people that have the information and know it and those that don't, right? And that's where, of course, in this particular example, the salespeople take advantage of those that don't have the information. And I think in any business, but let's use real estate, of course, that's been true over the years, right? Like if you could see a trend, if you knew that Dallas was, trending in some particular direction because you spent some time there, others didn't know it, so you move your capital, and start investing in Dallas because you were able to access some information that others didn't have, and you get ahead of the curve, right? Like you'd set the trend. I feel like we're getting in a world where there's so much data and it's so easily accessible that it makes it much, much harder to assess where you want to yin when others are yanging, or you want to, just get ahead of the curve. It makes it much more difficult because everybody's got access to it.
Well, you're talking about like, how do you separate the signal out of the noise, right?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be so much noise in the data, right? Like, how do you actually find the signal?
Well, and I think and that signal might be loud for lots of people at the same time. Versus, we were having this conversation recently about the histories where John Love made a move into office when nobody else was, and so because he saw the data, somehow he got access or insight to it and made this move. And there's lots of examples in history where people have seen something, been exposed to something before anybody else, and were able to make that decision and move their cash that direction and take advantage before the market moved. It'd be a lot harder in today's age, and I think in the future, it's especially to get that sort of unique, special insight before anybody else does.
Well, and that's where I'll go back to where I feel like we're at an exciting point with Brookfield, right? So you can go to third-party data, you can buy the models, you can buy the forecasts, you can try to figure it out, and that's data everyone's got access to. But then companies that can have the resources, or that you can build your own and like now take your third-party data combined with your internal data, you might have access to that data or that signal that nobody else has had, right? So you might be able to create that proprietary, become your own secret
This is like
sauce.
the money ball of real estate now, right?
a little
Pricing
bit, yeah.
perfection.
Yeah,
The result. Yeah.
Like you're interpreting it differently, or because you've got more scope or more scale or more expertise.
Well, the thing about the third-party models, like when you buy a model, sometimes it's black box, right? Because you don't know the variables that they pull on, you don't know the weighting that they put on certain things. Like maybe they weight demographics more than crime statistics, or whatever they do for their model to make their prediction. When you start building that internally, you can work with your teams and you can say, no, I want more weight on this, less weight on that, and you make it exactly to how you want it to be in your forecast. So if you are an executive trying to figure out your markets, you can put your feelings into that.
Yeah.
And then so that's the secret sauce of it all, when you can build it yourself and you can really impact what you're trying to do and what you're trying to predict.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Don't take this the wrong way, Mike. But I feel like in the future, you just go to an AI agent and just prompt it saying, here's what I want to do. I want to invest in office and I want to maximize my returns. And here's the 75,000 data points I've got. Go tell me what I need to do. And it just comes back
It
with,
makes
here,
assumptions
go
for
buy
you.
this piece of property over here, right? And it's like everybody gets the exact same info to go and buy that exact piece of
But then
property,
that
right?
vendor has the same info, so they know the exact pricing too. So everybody's just living on thin margins. And
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe I'm being a pessimist here.
No, you're not wrong. But that's what I'm saying. If you build it yourself, right, then it's not going to a vendor. You're you don't have 10 people going to that vendor and using that model and using that prediction. You built it yourself, right? So you have one company doing that. Now, did everyone use the same underlying data?
Right.
So,
Mike, we're out of time, unfortunately. Thanks for coming on. Really interesting conversation. I love this stuff. We spend so much time talking about real estate. It's great to talk about some other things that are sort of real estate, but different. Thank you to Glass Lake Funding for sponsoring this episode. Thanks to the Real Estate Forum for hosting us here. Thanks again, Mike.
thank you very much.